Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. The name is Stephanie Bree, and I'm playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game on the Nintendo Entertainment System by Ultra Games, aka Konami. We'll play as the best turtle, Leonardo. I love this game. True story, I actually played the arcade game of the Ninja Turtles before I ever saw the cartoon or even knew that there were toys. So when I was a kid, I thought Ninja Turtles was just a video game. I knew nothing about it. There were plenty of weird fucking games back then. You know, Castlevania, Mega Man, Ghosts and Goblins, Wizards and Warriors. You know, just weird shit. Battletoads, although Battletoads maybe came later, I don't know. So to me, I thought of Ninja Turtles as a video game property. And then I found out it had toys, and then of course I wanted the toys. And then I found out there was a cartoon. Well, you know, Mario had a cartoon, Pac-Man, Pole Position. There were a lot of cartoons based on video games, so I didn't think anything of it. But then I later found out that it was actually based on a comic book. And so I had a friend who actually had some of the early issues of the comic book. And he asked me if I wanted to read them, and I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And it only took me 30 seconds to flip through the book and be like, it's in black and white. And he's like, yeah, isn't that cool? And I was like, God, no. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're one of those assholes that thinks the Game Boy's better than the Game Gear, you fucking morons. Fucking black and white. Give me a fucking break. No. So I was, like, not initially a fan of the Ninja Turtles as, like, characters. I was just a fan of them as like video game characters, and so I knew nothing at all about their personalities or their character traits or origin story or any of that. I just knew that this guy had swords and his color is blue, and well, blue is the best color and swords is the best weapon, so this was the best turtle. I didn't know anything at all about him being a geek, and Donatello being the nerd, and Raphael being the dick, and Michelangelo being the doofus. I didn't know who was who and what was what. But then I did start watching the cartoon, and I originally, at first, didn't really know what to think of the cartoon. I liked it, but I was kind of like, I don't know, this isn't what I expected. You know what I'm saying? Because I was still, like, really kind of missing Transformers because it had just gone off the air the season prior to this launching. So I was still bummed that I didn't have Transformers to watch anymore. And while it was, like I said, kind of fun, you know, ninjas, whatever, mutants, whatever. The Technodrome was cool. Bebop and Rocksteady was... Well, Rocksteady was cool. Bebop was an asshole. You know, Krang was cool. Shredder was cool. The Foot Soldiers, because they're robots. You know, there was stuff I liked about it, but there were no fucking Transformers in it. And so they had the van, but the van didn't turn into a robot. And so I was like, it's okay. It's just not my favorite thing. But because Transformers were done for, or at least the cartoon and the comics were done, I was like, well, I don't have anything to watch, so I'll watch this stupid cartoon. I was still getting Transformers toys at the time because they were still making the toys. I just didn't have any cartoon to show me how I was supposed to play with those toys, which I didn't really do it according to the cartoon. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there. So, I started playing this game in the arcade, and then I started watching the cartoon, the 1987 Saturday morning cartoon. And then, oof, I'm gonna die. I'm not even gonna make it to the boss. And then I, you know, I played the other Ninja Turtle games. The first one on the NES, and then Ninja Turtles 3, and then Tournament Fighters. Those, they weren't as good as this one. This was the one I liked. And then years later, I got a Sega Genesis, and later even than that, a Super Nintendo. And I know what you're thinking, right? No, I didn't buy any Ninja Turtle games for those 2 consoles. At that point, I had already seen Ninja Turtles 3, the Turtles in Time live action, air quotes, movie. I was over the Ninja Turtles at that point. By the time the credits rolled on that movie, I was ready to get rid of everything I owned Ninja Turtles. I was like, nope, this franchise is dead to me. So I walked away from Ninja Turtles, whatever year the fucking movie came out. And I didn't watch the cartoon anymore. I stopped playing with my toys. I didn't get rid of them all right away, but I did stop playing with them. And by that time, you know, we were knee-deep in Generation 2 Transformers, and Beast Wars was right around the corner. So I was just getting back into Transformers all over again. I just got a game over, but I think I have a continue. I have 3 continues, so I'm just going to play until I run out of continues, and that's all I'm going to do. But then a few more years go by, and something happened. I got a Nintendo GameCube, and I went all in on the GameCube. I fucking loved the GameCube. It is, to this day, one of my top 5, maybe top 3 favorite video game consoles of all fucking time. I loved the goddamn GameCube. And I was buying games left and right on the GameCube, because at the time, I had a good job. I lived with my parents. I owned my car. I didn't have any car payments. You know, so I could spend all my money on video games and just play games all day long. And that's what I did. You know, when I wasn't at work, I was just playing video games. Didn't really have friends. At that time, didn't really need them or want them. And so, there was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat-em-up style, 3D beat-em-up style video game on the GameCube that was literally just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I played it, and you know what? I liked it. I had a lot of fun playing that game. And I was like, okay, this is reminding me of the old days, you know? When I was a kid playing that fun arcade game. So I did, you know, at this time I was getting into emulators. So I did emulate the NES, and this was one of the first ROMs I downloaded. And I did get MAME, and the actual arcade ROM was one of the very first ROMs I emulated on MAME. And so I was like, hell yeah, get back into the Ninja Turtles. And so I told myself I was going to download all 10 seasons of the cartoon, because I wasn't going to buy them on DVD. They didn't exist yet. And I wasn't going to buy them on VHS, because that would have cost a fucking fortune. And so I was like, alright, I'm going to download this. Well, I didn't have the hard drive space for it, and I had already previously downloaded all of the Ninja Turtles, or not Ninja Turtles, excuse me, Transformers cartoons. Masterverse, Headmasters, Victory, Beast Wars 2, Beast Wars Neo, Robots in Disguise, etc. So I was like, yeah, my hard drive is full. I don't have room for Ninja Turtles. So I noticed that they were airing this new cartoon on TV. I don't remember what network it was. Might have been Nickelodeon. I don't know. But I was like, I'll check it out. And I watched an episode or 2 and didn't like it. I was like, nope, this really isn't for me. Now, to be fair, I have to clarify. I'm not, in general, a fan of cartoons. Now, I say that, and a lot of people think I hate cartoons. I don't hate cartoons. I'm just not, I'm not fucking enamored by a cartoon. A cartoon has to be damn good to get my attention. Otherwise, I don't give a fuck, because it looks like a fucking kindergartner scribbling on in a coloring book. That's what cartoons look like to me. You know? It looks like something a fucking kindergartner would do. It's not real. Give me a fucking, CGI animated. Yeah, sure, we'll talk. Or live action, or I'm not fucking interested. That being said, I'll give more credence in general to traditional cell animation than I will stop motion. Like I said, in general. There are exceptions, of course. But I just wasn't into cartoons to begin with. And that cartoon, that particular one, didn't do it for me. So I decided not to download the Ninja Turtles. A few years later, about 5 or 6 years later, my dad's in the hospital, in the ICU, and we think he's dying, pancreatitis. It's pretty sad. And so I decided, I was sitting at home, my mom was at the hospital with my dad, my sisters were at home with their kids, because they were both married at the time, and so I was, I was sitting at home by myself, and I was just, like, desperate for, comfort. So I started looking up videos on YouTube. At that point, the vast majority of YouTube content I had consumed was Angry Video Game Nerd and maybe, like, retro commercials from, like, the 80s. And, there might have been, like, 1 or 2 toy YouTubers, like Transformers YouTubers at the time I watched. I don't remember. But it was mostly that stuff. And because that was what my algorithm was at the time, YouTube started feeding me Nostalgia Critic. And also because I was watching Angry Video Game Nerd, I was also getting into Cinemassacre and some of their other content, like their I can't remember what it was, like Horror Fest or whatever the fuck it was called, Monster Madness or whatever the fuck it was called, that he did every October. And so he started doing movie reviews and things like that, and he did a video where he said that he watched the entire animated series of the original 1987 seasons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then I watched, like, I think the Nostalgia Critic did a video on the Ninja Turtles movie, I think. I don't remember. And so I was like, okay. I was trying to get back into Ninja Turtles. But this was also just after the Michael Bay 2007 Transformer movie came out. Maybe 2 or 3 years after. So, Ninja Turtles were kind of in limbo at that time. The Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies hadn't come out yet. There were no cartoons on the... Oh, please let me restart there. Because if I start all the way back at the goddamn beginning... Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm never going to beat this level. They were just kind of sort of in limbo. There were no toys on the shelf. There was no cartoon. And so I was just like, alright, whatever. Was getting back into Transformers. Was getting back into video game collecting hardcore. Had no interest. I was also collecting VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc and stuff like that at the time too. So I had no interest in getting back into Ninja Turtles. And then a few years go by. 2000, I want to say 19 or 20, I start getting back into action figure collecting, like hardcore. Like it's my new hobby. Like I really just want to collect action figures and nothing, and more or less nothing else. And so I'm at the Walmart and I'm looking down the toy aisle. There's some Transformers, no G.I. Joe. They got some Scooby-Doo and, the World of Nintendo Mario figures and the Sonic figures and Fortnite, and I'm like, and wrestling figures. No Ninja Turtles, no, not Ninja Turtles. No Masters of the Universe, none of that. No, they didn't even have Star Wars, but they did have Ninja Turtles. Specifically, Rise of the TMNT. And so, I went all in, and I basically bought every core figure, base figure, from that toy line, and several of the vehicles. None of the play sets, because too expensive. And then they had the cartoon on Netflix, so I watched, like, an episode or so of it, and I was like, yeah, this sucks, but, the toys were damn good. And so, I finally decided that I was going to focus my effort on buying back every toy from my childhood. And one of the toys I had as a kid, well, I had a bunch of Ninja Turtles toys, but one of the big ones I had as a kid was the Technodrome. And I had an opportunity to buy a near complete Technodrome for just under $200 by itself. Still missing a few accessories, but it was pretty close to complete. Or I can buy one that was not quite as complete, but it came with like at least 6 or 7 other vehicles, the sewer layer, and at least 20 to 30 random assorted action figures, and like a shoebox full of weapons and accessories and bits and bobs for $450. So I bought that. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll do that. Because at that time, I was a television producer by trade. I was making good money. I owned my own house. You know, this was before COVID fucked everything up. So it was like, you know, all right, this is pretty cool. And then I did acquire the first 10, or the 10 seasons of the cartoon. And I watched the first 2.5 seasons before I lost interest. And it didn't take long before I realized that I had already seen every episode that I watched as a kid, because apparently I only watched like the first like 1 or 2 seasons before I got bored, I guess, or moved on to something else. Really wasn't all that ginormous of a Ninja Turtle fan growing up. And to this day, I would say I would put Ninja Turtles in my top 10 favorite toy lines. I would put Ninja Turtles, the video games, I wouldn't even put them in my top 100. Not even this game, not even the arcade game. I wouldn't put Ninja Turtles in my top 100 video game franchises, and not a single individual Ninja Turtle game makes my top 100 individual video game list. These Ninja Turtle games are just like a distraction at best. They're not good games, they're not bad games, they're just like, fucking bash the buttons for a little bit, they're nostalgic, that's it. I'm not a ginormous fan of the Ninja Turtles. Love the toys. Enjoyed the movie, 1990, New Line Cinema. Yeah, I watched it a lot. Had it on VHS. Eventually DVD, and then Blu-ray. But, let's be real. Aside from the 1990 movie, and like the first mini-series of the cartoon, the first 5 episodes of the cartoon, and this video game, it's all about the toys for me. Don't give 2 fucks about any of the comic books. I'll never read or own a Ninja Turtle comic book, most likely. Unless it's something special or unique. Like, I've got the Stranger Things meets Ninja Turtles comic book, graphic novel. Alright, that's fun. Okay, it's Ninja Turtles, sure. But it's also Stranger Things. Why not? You probably think I'm being distracted by the talking, and that's why I suck at this game. Kind of, but also, I'm gonna be honest with you, even as a kid, like, the sewer level was as far as I ever got. And I think that's like the 3rd level. I never was very good at video games in general, but definitely not these arcade-style games that require fast reflexes. So yeah, I'm sucking right now, kind of, because I am talking a lot. But even if I wasn't talking and I was just concentrating entirely on the game, I would still, I'd still be sucking. And I'm gonna be real with you, it's probably been 10 years or more since the last time I played this game. So I'm very obviously rusty. And I am playing it with a wired PS3 controller, and I'm using the joystick instead of the D-pad. So I'm not playing it with the controls as intended, as it's programmed to be played with, designed to be played with. And the B button, or the button that I'm using as the B button, sticks. Like, a lot. Like, I'm tapping it now, and he's not... I tapped it 3 times before he swung a sword. It sticks. Tap. He swung it. Tap. It takes about 2 to 3 taps before he swings the sword. Sometimes he'll swing it right away. It's frustrating. Sometimes it'll get stuck and I have to wait for it to pop out. The point is, I'm not good at this game to begin with. So, and I'm playing it with an less than ideal controller. I didn't even refill my life bar? I'm not going to be able to beat this level, am I? Because I needed to at least be able to refill my life bar when I came in here. I'm dead. Can I at least get some pizza or an extra life? I'm dead. At least let me get some extra... Well, at least I made it to the boss. He's gonna kill me in one fucking hit. But at least I made it. Told ya. I'm fucking dead already. Alright, that's enough of this game. Thanks for watching. Stay cool.